So, not feeling well. So, anyways, I have medical insurance. I have Medicare and Medicaid. So, I'm doing a lot better than some people are doing, right? Well, you would think. I go to the doctor, I'm able to see a doctor. I'm able to get tests. um, I think that is as far as I would take it, to be honest. Um, I've noticed, there's somewhat of a difference, but there's a lot of similarities. One has money, or one is being funded. They're getting assistance, and the other one doesn't. Like many of you, myself back in the day, I didn't have any insurance, and I probably collected at least $150,000 in medical debt without insurance. So, and I wasn't able to pay that. Now people think, oh, if you go to the hospital, or whatever, like, whatever. No, 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 no. It doesn't work like that. You're charged, and if you don't pay, well, it goes to a credit company, a collections agency, should I say, and then eventually it is, if you don't pay for it, or it could be also sent to a lawyer, and they could sue you. As far as I know, I haven't been sued. I don't know. If I have, I haven't got the memo. And then, eventually it's sent to the credit bureaus, and that affects your credit, right? Credit's kind of crazy. I'm not going to get into that subject, but on this video, this is kind of crazy. You have to have debt. You have to have enough debt. It's crazy that you have to pay interest fees, and whatever, just to have credit. I don't know. I'm not going to get into it. So, now, like I'm saying, some people have money, some people have insurance, some people just have money, some people don't have any insurance, or some just don't have anything. I got sick in 2004. I started to exhibit symptoms around mid to late October of 2004. And when I go to the doctors, the hospitals, or whatever, regardless if I have a way to pay or not, it's still essentially the same stuff. And I can testify after 14 years, it's it's definitely something. It's you go to the doctors, you see a doctor. If you have simple issues, whatever, your body will probably heal. But if you have chronic health issues, on the other hand, you go to the doctor like, hey, I'm sick, I'm having this, blah 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 blah. Not your typical stuff, but at the same time, doctors should be able to figure out what's going on. I mean, it took them 8 to 12 years to become a medical doctor. I'm assuming they had to learn anatomy, physiology, pathophysiology, pathology, whatever, body mechanics, just a whole bunch of different stuff. And I've noticed, and it's not just my experience, a lot of people have the same thing, is they go to the physicians. The physician only seems to want to know one thing: what's going on. 3 things max, but sometimes that could be just too much. And then they try to write you a prescription, or whatever. So it's usually they write you a prescription or whatever, And then they usually want to do blood tests, and sometimes some of those blood tests can get very expensive, costing anywhere from hundreds of dollars to thousands of dollars. Sometimes they also want to do CT scans or some type of radiology type thing, or ultrasounds, or whatever the case is. There's times that the blood tests come back abnormal, and 9 out of 10 times they won't do nothing. They'll just say that's non-specific, which I think is pretty crazy. It's non-specific. Okay. So I'm having abnormalities, but it's not specific. And I think it's interesting is I'm also coming to you because I'm sick, I'm having symptoms, and then blood tests are coming back abnormal. Huh. Or it's like you could be having pain in your upper right quadrant and they just ignore it. Or they could do a ultrasound and see possible gallstones or whatever. But unless you're in catastrophic pain, or something, or if you're actually like literally having a heart attack or a stroke or whatever the case is, they dismiss it. It's not, it's unremarkable, it's unremarkable and non-specific. It's, damn it, my nose itches. I'm not picking, I'm just itching, because that makes a difference. So I think that's it's interesting is I've noticed a lot of physicians, they don't seem to really care about a condition unless it's extreme. Well, the interesting thing is when it is extreme, they tell you to go to the hospital. But the hospital doesn't really do nothing. And they just they tell you to go back to your doctor or see a specialist. And it's pretty much all the same thing. I just think it's quite interesting. I might be going, I don't know. I think it's interesting. Or or it could be extreme. It's like, okay, you're actually having a heart attack. It's not like, hey, I'm having a heart attack. Let me make an appointment to, see my doctor, or whatever. I mean, you think about the people that have sudden cardiac arrest, where their heart stops like right off the bat. I mean, that could happen to me today, tomorrow, next week, next year, decades from now. I'm hoping in 65 years. Not really. Anything could happen, but it's just like, I think my blood pressure was like 160 over 110, and my pulse was like, I don't know, like 100 and, I think it was like 115, 100, I don't know what it was. And the doctors are just like, well, if it was like, 190 over 140, then we would do something. Or like 240 over, whatever. I'm just like, are you freaking serious? Like, are you, like, it's crazy. So, I think I am kind of drifting. But, what I came into, like, when I was trying to make this video, just like, going back, is I've noticed a lot of doctors you see, they just seem to want to give you symptom relief, and all the blood tests or abnormal tests in general are apparently non-specific, and they don't want to engage and try to investigate to actually see what's going on. Like, hey, what's going on? And this is very common. And I don't know if everybody, but a lot of people, such as myself as well, is you're automatically told that you have hypochondriasis or some type of psychotic issue or like somatoform disorder. somatization, I think you call, I don't know how to pronounce it, or something, right? It's always something. I'm just like, wow, but you people aren't even doing anything. I mean, I could literally read medical books and find exactly the same damn thing that you should have had. Like, investigate. And what really ticks me off is, okay, say I don't have insurance. Many Americans don't. I live in Texas. Many Texans don't have insurance. So they have to pay out of cash, or they have to, go through some type of charitable program or something. I don't know. Pay as you go. I don't know. Okay, so a person's sick. Like, say right now, my brain feels like it's sizzling. I don't know why. Apparently, I got brain disease. You go to a doctor, and what are they going to do? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. They're just going to say you have anxiety. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. What's another one? I'm having right upper. I'm having right upper quadrant pain. I've been puking bile. I've been having high blood pressure. Yeah, like when I first got sick, I was. I don't think I had the pain though. I was puking bile. So okay, vomiting bile, having high blood pressure, cranial headaches, blood sugar 32, um, fast pulse rate, all kinds of different issues, right? So you don't have a lot of money. So you go to this doctor, you're trying to get help, and they automatically just say that, and in the labs you get a CBC and CMP, and you have 10 things abnormal. Correct? Okay, so now the doctor goes and says, you're suffering from hypochondriasis. You have anxiety. It's in your head. There's nothing wrong with you. Right? And you're just like, wow. You have mental issues. You're too young. So I just paid this money to try to get help. And all I got was lectured stating that I had mental issues. And apparently that my health issues aren't real. And sometimes they say they don't know, but it's like, it's so bad they don't even try to even really do anything. You see what I'm talking about? It's like, I don't know if anybody has that. I'm assuming, different issues, but they come in, they're having these issues. Like, I've had thyroid issues for years, and people would rather say that I have mental issues than actually try to figure out what's wrong with me. Just like, going back to the bio and everything else, I was like, look, I'm having, I didn't know anything about that's when the internet was coming out. I didn't know anything about health. I was looking up symptoms, and I was saying gastritis and all this other stuff, and people were like, oh, you have mental issues, you're making things up, you're inappropriately using our services, you're fired, or whatever. And then you find out, being persistent, you finally get a upper and lower GI, and you actually not only have gastritis, you have esophagitis, polyp in the stomach, polyps, should I say, internal hemorrhoids, all kinds of stuff. It's like, why is a person all of a sudden puking bile? Why is that person's sugar low? Why is that person having high blood pressure? Why is that person having tachycardia? I went to some hospitals, and they're like, oh, there's nothing wrong with you. You're nuts. You got mental issues. And then you got doctors like, oh, poor baby, you're dehydrated. I'm just like, you see what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know if this makes sense, but, as an American, we don't have a lot of money. A lot of us don't have a lot of money. We get what we get. We live paycheck to paycheck if we work. And some of us, we can't work. because of whatever issue, such as myself being severely sick, right? So it's like when they're charging just to see you anywhere from 60, 70 to $207 just to see you for a few minutes. And then they, want you to get all these tests. And even when the tests come back abnormal, and then they turn around and say that you're making it up, or you're a hypochondriac, or you have mental issues, or whatever, or it just says that it's non-specific. Now you're out hundreds to thousands of dollars, and that was just on one visit. And at the end of the day, they didn't even try to figure out what the hell was wrong with you. All they did was give you drugs and put you down. That's if you took the drugs. And by the way, the drugs in general could cost anywhere from, a few dollars to, hundreds to thousands of dollars. You see what I mean? I mean, it's almost like it's, they're just adding injury to insult. It's like you see them, and you pay for, I guess, 5 to 10 minutes to see them, depending. I mean, sometimes, I see somebody for a while, sometimes 30, 40 minutes, but most of the time it's, maybe 5 to 10 minutes max. And and then if you have a list of a whole bunch of health issues, you're automatically called a hypochondriac right off the bat. Right off the bat, you're called a hypochondriac. I mean, I've had psychological tests that literally shows that I have moderate to severe cognitive impairments. Right? But they'll try to, the thing about some psychological tests is you can spin it two ways, right? You can spin it to the person really looks like they're really crazy and they actually they are suffering from issues, or if you look at it, as well as the person over time, like, oh, okay, this person actually has real issues. It's okay, that person's sane, but the medical community would rather say that that person has mental issues and just blow you off. And then you're labeled as a hypochondriac or whatever. Okay, and then they don't want to mess with you, right? Okay, you know what? Screw that. What if, regardless if a person actually has that, treat them. But you know what? They don't do that. It's just like when I thought I had my stroke issue, or when I had my dehydration, which I'm still having a lot of different issues. Hell, I eat, and I haven't really eaten that much. I've been drinking a lot of water, but my head on different sides start to go numb, or I'm having all kinds of issues. And I keep blacking out. I keep forgetting what I'm going to say. Like, literally, I don't know if I was, damn it. I was on a almost 18-minute roll, too. But it's like I'm having issues, like, trying to, take what I'm going to say. Like, it's like there's a stall. What was I going to say? Doctors, they don't really... I don't know. I think overall that, their practices should be illegal. If they practice like that. If you were in any other profession, pretty much, that wasn't covered under the tort law, you could sue the living shit out of them. If you did that in some professions, they would be fired. They would not be hired in general. Whether they were, an employee or wanted to be an employer, like, do their own business in a community setting, they wouldn't be allowed. But this is happening all over the world. People are getting sick, and they don't care about nutrition. I think that's what I was going to say earlier is, it's like when I was having these issues and stuff, and I was having the cycling moods and stuff, right? Where I would just feel sad or angry or whatever, like within like a short time frame. I saw my psychotherapist yesterday. I forgot what he said it was. It was something elementary or something elementary. I don't remember what it was. It might not, that might not even be a word to what he was saying. But all she did, my doctor, because I told her, sent a little message, and all they said was, um, and actually I don't know if I had, yeah, I think I, yeah, sent it in the mail. This thing right here, as a referral to see psychologist. I think that's the drug doc, the drug doctor. I really do not feel well. Psychiatric. I don't know how to say that. Uh, Psychology. Damn, how come I cannot pronounce that? Psych, psychiatry? Curry? I don't know. I try to stay away from that word in general. Psychiatry. Um, yeah, which I go and I see that person, they're going to be like, okay, well, you need to take drugs. Do you know there's like 100 different reasons a person can have mood swings? And you just automatically want to put me on drugs? Do you know a lot of places? I think so, I'm not sure. But do you know a lot of places, like to get mental help where they give you drugs? You have to pay hundreds of dollars to see that person. So not only are you paying hundreds of dollars to see a person, for whatever talk reason, you're also paying uh, for the drugs that they're telling you to take, right? Which is most likely going to make you into a zombie if it doesn't really screw your brain chemistry up, right? And it's like, wow. And you know what? And the thing is maybe you should have never even went there to begin with, right? Maybe you should have never even went. Maybe you didn't have to go. Like maybe it was something completely different. Maybe the reason I had those things was, because I was in a high state stressful environment because my AC was breaking down about a month ago, and for about 2 weeks straight my AC was literally broke. It was like 96, 97 degrees, and I was also having a fever and different things. I mean, maybe it wasn't even that. Maybe it was I forgot what it's called, Malaysia or Malaise or whatever, where you're just like, you know. I was just, having these different feelings. Maybe. But doctors don't even try to figure things out. And I always seem to say that doctors are negligent at best. They really are. They're negligent at best, the majority of them. I'm not condemning every doctor on this planet. There is a lot of great doctors. You know, right now there's a lot of great doctors. They're very awesome. You know, but there's a lot of doctors out there that are lazy as hell. They think, I'm gonna work my ass off, drink, I'm gonna pound, um, what do you call that? Pots and pots and pots and pots of coffee, and whatever else, and blah 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 blah, and I'm gonna work all this time to take all these exams, to learn everything, and now, okay, I'm a doctor, and now I have $200,000 in debt. It's like they're good at taking tests, but to think critically, they have no critical thinking. Not many of them. The majority of them, they don't. And when it comes to nutrition, which, by the way, the most of all diseases now is because of nutrition. Mainly, you're not eating the right nutrition. You're eating shit. It's killing you, or really making you sick. I mean, there's so many sick people. Like, and that's another thing, And I don't know if doctors are still doing this, or medical people. But when you're younger, say you're 20, a 20-year-old man or a woman, you're too young to be sick. You're too young to have any health issues. Say if you were just like a young teenager, like 13, and you're really sick. Say you're sick like the same stuff I've had, and you're only 13. Doctors would automatically, right off the bat, assume that you have some type of psychiatric issue. Yet, this country and its people, or the plague of this country, the westernized foods, the processed foods that's spreading, transnationally, globally, to different places, to different regions in the world. And these people are eating American food, and it's fucking killing them. You have babies that's, fat. You have babies, I'm not like talking about cute fat, I'm talking about fat. You have babies with diabetes. You have babies that's having heart failure. You're having babies with tumors. You're having babies with all kinds of diseases. Diseases that didn't even exist 30 years ago. You have people growing up having all kinds of issues. You have men. Even you have women. You have women having miscarriages time after time after time after time. You have men today. The sperm count for men is the lowest in history. Fucking history, man. Women, like, there's so much shit. You got women getting breast cancer. You got, there's just there's so many things, like, bing, 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 like, that people are inducing into their bodies, knowingly or not knowingly, unknowingly, like, that's causing all these issues. One of the reasons women get all kinds of breast cancer and all kinds of other stuff is estrogen. And men, they take estrogen and start getting gynecomastia. Man boobs. I mean, real man boobs. Like, oh, how you doing? But no, that's a dude. Like, you got men getting, like, what is it? 1 in 3 men are going to have prostate problems time they're 50 or whatever. Or, you even have, like, colorectal screenings. They're even setting it lower now. It used to be 50 when you get that checked out, and now, the hell, and now I think it's like 40, and that's the thing. That's even still high, because now you're having men and women, but men especially, probably, getting colorectal cancer in their 30s. But when I first got sick, they're like, oh, you're too young. Even at 30, oh, you're too young. And then when you get older, such as me, I'm 34 now, I'll be 35 next month, is, oh, well, you're getting older, your body's breaking down. Oh, really? So you didn't give a shit about when I was in my 20s, right? Saying that I was, making things up and that I'm too young and blah, 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 woof, woof. But now that I'm in my 30s, I'm supposed to accept that now my body's breaking down. Really. And I think what really gets me is when I start thinking about these older people, especially in today's generation. Oh my God, dude. Like, I don't know about the baby boomers right now, but I guarantee the next generation, us, holy fuck, bro. Like, oh my God. I don't know if it's baby boomers or X or, I don't know, but, could you imagine the disease? And it's like, okay, yeah, people are living longer. 70, 80 years old, right? But they're not healthy. They're diseased. Like hardcore, they are freaking diseased. The only the only reason they're managing is because they're taking a bunch of drugs, right? Taking a bunch of drugs. They can't even go out and do the things that they used to. I mean, they're getting older too. But then again, you have older people. Um, oh wow, I'm having that vertigo. I feel like I'm yeah, I feel like that right now. Ugh. But you have all these people that's diseased. I'm just like, wow. I mean, even trying to eat good nutrition, like real good nutrition, eating a plant-based diet, like real healthy food, is it's getting hard. I mean, I think that I wasn't talking, but I think that it was somebody. I don't know if it was on Periscope. I don't know if it was on Facebook or something. Somebody was talking about the soil, and I was a little impressed because the person was kind of young, and I was just like, oh wow, dude, like the soil, like we don't have rich soil anymore. It's processed soil. It's always being used. So you have all the nutrients, the minerals, the good bacteria that helps with that food. It's not there. So you're not the food doesn't have the nutrition that it once did, and because it doesn't, what happens? You don't get the nutrition that you need. And when we live in a world that has a whole bunch of stress, all these free radicals and all this other stuff, you know, you're not going to be able to thrive. And then this world in general is very acidic. It's more acidic than it probably ever has been. I know our food is very acidic. I was just thinking that my pH, my urine pH was 5.0. I'm like, whoa. And I've noticed at times my urine, well, I mean, it's probably because I'm dehydrated, but I was drinking water. But I don't know. I guess I'm kind of drifting once again. I was more talking about physicians. I do think with the physicians, it's bullshit. Not everybody has money. There's people with families, they don't have the freaking money. They go and see these doctors, whether it's in, rural areas, urban areas, wherever. And, I think both. I don't, because I'm from both. I'm actually from a rural area, small town, should I say. Not like crazy small towns, but, not too far from, big cities, like I am here now. But I don't think that physicians get enough training, and I don't think they get enough, I don't know. I just know there was statistics that I saw. I printed them out somewhere, but I think it was like 90% of people was unsatisfied with the physicians, not feeling like they were being heard. Most physicians don't seem to care. And even if they do, it's I don't know. I just think that doctors need to get off their ass, and they need to start thinking critically. When you have a patient such as myself or anybody, if a person is puking bile, their blood pressure is high, their sugar is extremely low, they're like, like that practically, shaking and whatever, and feeling like they're going to die. Well, that was probably, low blood sugar, or, or ticks or whatever. It's like, why would you take a person's money and then tell that person that they have mental issues, that it's in their head, when everything is visible? you're doing blood tests and it's coming back abnormal. Just like in 2013 when I lived in Austin before I moved down here, was all of a sudden I got so sick. Like my blood pressure was everywhere, my pulse was everywhere, high specifically mainly, or I would have orthostatic hypotension, or whatever the case was. I was freaking sick. I could not, and it didn't help that I only had a few days to pack up before I moved out. But I was very, very sick. When I got down here, um, like I didn't even have a place to stay. Luckily, I was able to find someone to help me out. But I was like, he didn't have a bed, so I practically slept on the floor. But I was like, that floor was like my spot for 2-3 months. Um, like I was sick, bro. Like I was sick. Like I was cold sweating every freaking day. Um, my blood pressure, my pulse was everywhere. I was having all kinds of things. I went to 5 hospitals, not one hospital, not 2 hospitals, not 3 hospitals, not 4 hospitals, but 5. Each one of these is a representation of a hospital. That's 5 hospitals, right? And even the blood test that came back was suggesting that there was something going on. Even the UA that, the P test that I would have, urinalysis, my ketones were 80. That means you're passing large amounts. Two reasons you have ketones. One is, well, I guess there's 3 if you're on a ketone diet, probably. Um, which is basically high protein, low carbs. So, which is actually the Atkins diet, really, if you think about it. So, is because you have diabetes, so you're pissing too much sugar. Which, by the way, when I was at one of the hospitals, my sugar was like 60, 64, I believe. Um, you're pissing too much sugar, or your body's literally in a starvation mode. I lost 40 pounds in 4 or 5 months, and not one damn doctor tried to actually help me overall. I mean, I think they all gave me bags of saline, but that was about it. And one thing that I specifically really remember, I remember a lot of stuff, but one thing that I really remembered is my pulse was high. Like I remember, like, a few of them. But like I remember, like, laying down in the bed, take my blood pressure, and it's like 130 over like 80 something or 90, whatever. It depends. And then my pulse is like 130. I've seen it where it's like 120 over 100 and pulse is 145, literally. And some are like, oh, that's natural. Dude, that is not fucking natural. That is not natural whatsoever. I don't know why you would think that. I don't know why you would say that. I remember when I was in Austin, I went to the hospital. My blood pressure was, I don't remember. It was, I think, 180. No, I think it was, I don't remember. I think it was 170, 180, I think, over 113. So, yeah, it may have been like 180 over 113 when I was sitting down and they took my blood pressure. But when I was laying down, I was fine. Like, even my pulse was like, 70, 80. Like, it wasn't high at all. So basically, when I was standing, my body was just like, ugh, you know. Yeah, I don't know, right? It's just like, well, so I don't really know what anybody will get out of this story that I'm saying. Actually, I was only going to make like a minute video. It turned out to almost be 40 minutes. Um, but I just think it's crazy that physicians aren't doing their damn job. Um, we're told pretty much that when we're sick, go to the doctor, and the doctor will help us out, try to get us better. Not that we go to the doctor, they take us our money and give us drugs. Um, like we almost want drugs or something. Not all of us. Uh, the days, I miss the days. Um, and then they don't even really do nothing. They fill you up with all kinds of um, they do all kinds of tests and whatever and blah blah blah. So you have thousands of dollars. You have thousands of dollars in debt, and you're nowhere closer to getting healthy. I was gonna put that earlier, and maybe that's what I forgot. But you don't get anywhere. You're not healthy. They put you down. They do all this, and then over the years, it's like, it's like, what are you doctors even doing? And then it's like, oh, I think I'm having a stroke. You just have anxiety. Until the day that you actually have a full blown stroke, and then you're screwed. I mean, my question is, what the hell would happen if I or somebody had a severe stroke and they didn't have any support system whatsoever? What would they do? How would they survive? You know? I mean, if you got money, you can, you know, go to a nursing home. And we know how nursing homes are. I'm not saying that every nursing home is bad, but we've seen the videos of all the abuse. So it's like, whoa, what the hell, man? Um, there's probably a lot of people. I mean, I don't know how I do it. Like when I've been homeless here and there, when I'm having health issues, it's like, you know, like what happens to these stroke people? Like, so people have to look out for them because if they don't, they're gonna die. I mean, think about being a stroke patient, like fucked up from your stroke, being homeless. How are you going to survive? And even if you do get on Social Security or whatever, Social Security is not all cracked up to what it is. See, that's another thing, and I'll mention that. Um, I don't know. I'm gonna have to do like the hour show, really. Um, I just got to get good content like this. So, damn it, what was I gonna say? Shit. Social Security. So the thing about Social Security is, I literally feel it's like that, dude. Like, so the thing about Social Security, it has its pros and cons. Um, it's great, but everything has to be working. Doctors have to be doing their parts. The doctor got to get you better, and then you can get the hell off Social Security because you can't do anything on Social Security. Depending on however much you make, you can't really make, you can't have like an income over, I think, 1100 or 1300 or whatever the case is. So if you make that much, you lose your Social Security and you lose your benefits, your insurance, whatever that is, depending if you have Medicaid, depending if you have SSI, SSDI, or whatever, because that's Medicare and Medicaid. The thing is you only get a little bit. You get, depending, some people get a lot more, but that's usually the older people that work longer. You get, maybe seven 750-ish or whatever to about $800, around in that gap. That's not enough to live off of. The reason I have this sofa for the last decade or whatever, well, about 8 years or so, the reason I live in an apartment and whatever is not because of Social Security. I mean, it is, but it's not as simple. You get so much money, right? Okay, well, you go to most places and you have to have 2 to 3 times the rent. So, say if this place, which costs more, say if it costs $500, well, you got to be bringing in, you have to have a revenue, I think gross or net or whatever after. Well, no, I don't know. But you have to have $1,500. Well, Me and a lot of people don't have $1,500, right? So that leaves us out. So we have to, stay with roommates, find roommates, which I'm sure that could be a hassle in general. I don't think anybody wants to live with a roommate forever, or roommates in general. So you got to get on, housing or Section 8, which, depending on whatever, it could take a long time. Some places takes, months to years to get on that list, to actually be accepted. So, yeah, so you could be out in the street if you're sick. Uh, and that's the thing. Uh, I hate that when you feel like you're going to sneeze and you don't. Ugh. So, and then it's like, okay, well, they go off of what you get and they pay a portion and you pay your portion, right? And then if you're on any other benefits like, what's that called? Food stamps or whatever, I mean, even then. So now you're at that point, even if you took a temporary job, which, um, like I said, you can't make a certain amount of money, right? Because if you go over that, you lose everything, right? But also because you're on Social Security, or because you're on Section 8 and food stamps, people are going to be like, oh, wait, you're getting money. Huh. And what do? They actually deduct. Well, some raise, such as Section 8 housing, and then some lower to practically non existent, such as food stamps or whatever you call it in your state. Um, Food benefits. So you're at the end of the day, you're kind of like, okay, what do you do? So if you have those kind of health issues and you can't work, but you can't. It's like, say if I, like, even if I had like a home business, like say my brain was in a screwed up as it was, and I could, and I'm still trying to figure something out. But say if I could do that, and if I could start making money, um, okay, say if I did make money, say I had a good job, right, and I'm making, I don't know, 50 grand, right? Everything's good. Okay, cool. The insurance, everything else is still gonna cost money. Um, but say, okay, I got a job, I'm working, then, a couple months down the road, I'm sick. See, you could do just like with Section 8. You can't go to school full time. Um, yeah, you can't go to college or anything full time if you live by yourself. But if you live with somebody, but you can go part time. Now, if you live with somebody else, you can go to college full time. So if you try to go for a 4-year college degree, you have to have two people living under the household. But if you, um, but with that being said, people find out you got people living with you, that could be tricky because they could be like, okay, well, we're going to raise the rent, Like, we don't want that person living here for free. And if that person is paying you rent, well, that's income, right? So if they're paying you rent or whatever, like if you're subleasing or whatever, which you're not really supposed to do in apartments, but if you're doing that, it's just whatever. It's just like if you get married, and you're on Social Security, your spouse's income can really affect your overall, like, everything. Like, it could screw everything up. Um, Say you're staying with someone. Say you don't got a place, right? You're staying with someone and they're giving you food and whatever. You're supposed to technically report that, and Social Security will take money off. So there's all kinds of stipulations, things that can really screw you up. So when I go to these doctors, it's I'm trying to get help. I'm not trying to be on Social Security for the rest of my life. I'm probably going to be on it once again, hopefully in the next whatever years. But with the way things are going, the economy in general, who knows? We might not even have Social Security. I mean, I think it's kind of funny. I'm not going to get political, but I think it's funny that, all these Americans, are complaining that they want their checks. They want, like, the socialists, they want their free stuff, right? And they want their uh, Social Security and whatever. But then again, they're trying to get illegal aliens, immigrants, whatever, um, trying to get them on the government's tete. It's like, are you serious? Like, we've been working all these years, so we as a country have money for the seniors, and you want illegal aliens to come in from another country and get benefits that they did not earn, they did not work for. They're not even from this country. Each country should have their own social security system, whatever. I believe that at a certain age, especially if you're screwing them over, man, at least give them something. But I personally believe that we should have something for the elderly because, old people, they don't do the things that they used to when they were younger. Um, I'm personally offended about that. I'm gonna have to really think about that after this. I'm just like, wow, I don't really know where I was going with that. Kind of blacked out there. But yeah, Social Security is it's definitely going bye bye. Just like my brain, it's just like I can't think. Um, but yeah, I just want to go to a doctor. I want a doctor to listen to me. I want a doctor to really understand physiology, um, pathophysiology, whatever, anatomy, all that other stuff. Why am I puking bile? Why am I having brain disease? Why am I having the thyroid disease? Why is my immune system attacking my body? Why am I having all this inflammation or these polyps or tubular adenoma or, inflammations or whatever the case is? Why am I having the high blood pressure, the low blood pressure, or the, abnormal pulse rates, or whatever the case is? Well, I don't know. Let me just send you to a specialist that really doesn't know, you know? And it's like everybody's always trying to, like, do these tests. I've noticed that. Like, you go to some of these doctors, dude, they got no fucking problem. They're like, oh, yeah, no problem. Do that test. But then again, you have doctors that won't do any test. I gained 74 pounds in 2.5 years. I gained so much fat that now I have stretch marks on my stomach for the rest of my life. And then the the doctor was like, "Oh well, I can tell you that, um, that your weight gain is not from your thyroid." And I'm like, I can't remember more than a couple days. So who knows? That could be, like the brain disease and stuff. That could be the reason I can't think straight. Which I'm gonna have to think about that because they want to give me anti-immunosuppressants, which I think that's kind of crazy anyway. It's like give somebody the proper food, the proper nutrition that they need, and maybe they can get better. But if you can't work, you can't make money. Um, it's just like, whoa, what the hell? Um, and then that I'm already almost 35 years old, it's like, whoa, that's 14 years almost. 14 years that I've I don't know, I hear a phone. just don't like that stuff. You know, you'll have people that will have their phone on loud where everybody in the damn world hears it. And then you're wondering if that's going off, or if is it your phone or somebody else's phone. You know, the people in the car that have the, you know, their phone hooked up to the car speakers. So, I don't know. I just know I'm almost 35 years old. I have tremendous catastrophic health issues. I don't think I'm going to get better. I think that, you know, the Social Security, they work to a degree. But it's something not to stay on, you know. It really isn't. It's you can't survive off of Social Security. You can't. I mean, you can, but it's detrimental to your health. I mean, there's people that they have health, and they don't care. Like they leech off that. Like they parasite the hell out of, you know, benefits. You know, they're having barbecues and everything. Like, you know, like they'll go and find someone to shack up with, and they're living like kings. But at the end of the day, they're not. You know. They're living for the day, you know, and they're not putting anything aside. You know, live for the day, that's cool, but have something for the side. You know, so for when you get older. You know, I think that's how life should be, but I mean, you got Social Security and you're just kind of just, you know, I'm going to smoke my weed and drink my beer and, you know, eat my brisket and, you know, my smoked brisket and whatever and blah 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 blah, and, you know, do that almost on a daily basis. I'm like, you know, it must be nice, but, you know, I mean, that's not right. Like, you know, people that's disabled, you know, old or disabled, or people like myself, like, you know, we are the ones that need to be on this. And trust me, I don't really want to be on Social Security, but I don't have any choice. I have to be on it. And that's where the doctors come in. So when you go to the doctor and they're not doing anything really, you know, besides taking your blood, giving you a headache, and basically saying that there's nothing wrong with you, that it's on your head, you know, or I don't know. I mean, really? Like, you went to school, you're a doctor? And why is it that we can't sue you for the stupid shit that you do? Oh, because of tort law. Okay. You have to essentially find gross negligence. Like, personally, I think gross negligence isn't even negligence. It's not. It's, you know. I mean, I think negligence should be negligence in general, but the law doesn't see it that way. I think there's only 11 states in the country that if these doctors screw up, you can sue the shit out of them. That was weird. It sounded like a fly or something. I was like, whoa. That was weird. A fly? I don't know. Fly, pelican. What was that? That movie was like, fly. I don't know. I don't know. This is a crazy video. I didn't think I was going to do an hour. Like I said, I thought I was going to do a minute video. Just want to take like little bits and pieces. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to see if I can learn how to build passive income. I don't know. So with my brain, I don't know how long that's going to last, but I definitely want to get that residual income. Maybe I can start learning things. I want to have like, you know, at least 5 different things. So I'm always making money. I need to get at least 100 grand after taxes to even, you know, survive. Because the second I make money, you know what's going to happen. And then as doctors, like, you know, find a natural doctor that knows what the hell they're doing. And don't get confused, because there's people that, you know, they study for 6 months, get a license, and they think they know everything, and they really don't. Just, you know, be very careful. Educate yourself. But I'm gonna get off this thing because it's about to be 1 hour. So pieces.